For months, I'd noticed my lunch would mysteriously go missing from the office fridge. I knew it wasn't just a mistake because my containers would be emptied and left behind. I tried labeling my food, hiding it in the back of the fridge, even bringing super spicy food to deter them, but nothing worked. Finally, I had enough. I started bringing in containers filled with random, disgusting stuff to mess with them. One day it was canned dog food disguised as chili. Another day it was mashed cauliflower dyed bright green. My masterpiece was a container of jello mixed with tuna. I labeled everything as usual and waited. Sure enough, the theft stopped within a week. No one confessed, but I overheard someone complaining about feeling sick all day after lunch. I couldn't help but smile. Let me tell you the whole story of how I caught my office lunch thief and made them regret ever touching my food. Let me give you some context about this office situation, because it's important to understand just how frustrating this was. I work at a pretty standard office. About 40 people, one shared kitchen, one communal fridge. Most people are decent, respectful, normal colleagues. We all bring our lunches, put them in the fridge in the morning, heat them up at noon, no drama. Except for one person, the lunch thief. It started about 3 months into my time at this company. I'd bring my lunch, put it in the fridge with my name clearly written on the container, and when lunchtime came around, it would be gone. Not the container, just the food. The container would be sitting there, empty, sometimes not even rinsed out. At first, I thought maybe it was an honest mistake. Maybe someone grabbed the wrong container, realized it wasn't theirs, ate it anyway because they were hungry, and felt too embarrassed to say something. So I didn't make a big deal about it. I just bought lunch that day and made a mental note to label my containers better. But then it happened again, and again, and again. Every few days, my lunch would disappear. Always the same pattern. Container emptied and returned to the fridge. No apology note. No explanation, just gone. I started labeling my containers more clearly. Big letters, my name. Do not eat. Nothing worked. I tried different containers. Different spots in the fridge. I'd hide my lunch behind other people's food. I'd put it in the back corner. Nothing mattered. The lunch thief always found it. I even tried bringing less appealing food. Plain chicken and rice. Boring salads. Didn't matter. They'd eat it anyway. The worst part wasn't even losing my lunch. It was the principle of it. Someone in this office, someone I probably talked to every day, was stealing from me, looking me in the face and then taking my food. And I had no idea who it was. After about 2 months of this, I decided I needed to figure out who was doing it. I started paying attention to patterns. What days did my lunch go missing? What time? Who was in the kitchen around lunchtime? The problem was, everyone was in the kitchen around lunchtime. That's when people eat lunch. So that didn't narrow it down. I tried asking around casually. Hey, have you noticed food going missing from the fridge? Most people said no. A few people said yes, they'd had food stolen too. So it wasn't just me. One person suggested we get a camera for the kitchen, but management shut that down immediately. Privacy concerns or something. Which I thought was ridiculous because it's a communal kitchen, but whatever. I tried the spicy food trick. I made the spiciest curry I could handle, the kind that made my eyes water just cooking it. Labeled it clearly with my name and put it in the fridge. Gone by noon. And I never heard anyone complaining about their mouth being on fire. So either the thief had an iron stomach, or they were just powering through the pain out of pride. I tried putting fake labels on my containers. Things like contains nuts or allergy warning or expired, do not eat. Didn't work. They ate it anyway. I started bringing my lunch in a brown paper bag instead of a container, thinking maybe they specifically targeted containers. They took the whole bag. I tried a decoy lunch. Put a cheap sandwich I didn't care about in the front of the fridge, and my real lunch hidden in the back. They took both. At this point, it had been almost 4 months. I'd lost probably 30 lunches. I'd spent so much money buying lunch on the days my food was stolen. I was frustrated, angry, and honestly a little obsessed with catching this person. That's when I decided to get creative. I spent a weekend thinking about how to handle this. I tried the normal approaches. Nothing worked, so I needed to try something abnormal. The goal wasn't just to stop them from stealing my lunch. The goal was to make them regret it, to make them think twice before ever taking someone else's food again. So I came up with a plan, actually multiple plans. I was going to bring in fake lunches, disgusting things that looked like normal food, and see if they'd eat them. And when they did, they'd learn their lesson. My first fake lunch was dog food. I went to the pet store and bought a can of dog food. The chunky kind, the kind that looks kind of like beef stew if you don't look too closely. I opened the can, heated it up a bit so it wouldn't be cold, and put it in one of my regular lunch containers. Then I added some things to make it look more like human food. A little paprika on top for color. Some crackers on the side. I made it look like homemade chili. I labeled the container with my name, just like always, and put it in the fridge Monday morning. Then I waited. I didn't go to the kitchen at lunch. I didn't want to risk seeing who took it and giving anything away with my expression. I just stayed at my desk, ate a protein bar I'd kept hidden in my drawer, and waited to see what would happen. Around 1 p.m., I went to the kitchen to get some water. My container was there, empty, rinsed out and sitting on the counter. Someone had eaten dog food. I took the container, washed it thoroughly, and went back to my desk trying not to laugh. The dog food worked so well that I decided to do it again. But this time I wanted to switch things up. For my second fake lunch, I made what looked like a delicious pasta salad. Except it wasn't pasta. It was those rubber band-looking things you use to hold vegetables together. And the vegetables were actually pieces of sponge I'd cut up and dyed with food coloring. The dressing was dish soap mixed with olive oil. Okay, I didn't actually do that one. That would be dangerous. But I thought about it. What I actually did was make a container of mashed cauliflower that I'd dyed bright green with food coloring. I added some seasoning to make it smell okay, but it looked absolutely disgusting. Like something had gone terribly wrong. Like alien food. I put it in the fridge Wednesday morning. By noon, it was gone. Someone ate bright green mashed cauliflower without questioning it. For my third fake lunch, I made jello. Normal jello, cherry-flavored, nice and red. Except I mixed in a can of tuna. Not tuna salad, just chunks of tuna suspended in cherry jello. I put it in a container, added a spoon, labeled it with my name, and put it in the fridge. You guessed it. Gone by lunch. By this point, I was having the time of my life. Every couple of days, I'd bring in something new and disgusting, and every time it would disappear. I started getting creative with combinations. Cottage cheese mixed with pickle juice and hot sauce. Oatmeal mixed with sardines. A smoothie that was actually vegetable broth, blended with protein powder and spirulina. Each time, the container would come back empty. And the best part? I started noticing someone in the office looking a little green around the gills, looking uncomfortable, making frequent trips to the bathroom. I never figured out exactly who it was, but I had my suspicions. After about 2 weeks of my fake lunch campaign, something changed. My lunches stopped disappearing. I brought in real food, actual meals I wanted to eat, and they stayed in the fridge untouched. Day after day, my lunch was there, waiting for me at noon. The lunch thief had stopped. I think they finally figured out that my food was a gamble. Maybe they got sick one too many times. Maybe they realized something was off. Maybe they just decided I wasn't worth the risk anymore. Whatever the reason, it worked. About a week after the theft stopped, I was in the break room making coffee. One of my coworkers, let's call him Dave, was there too. He looked a little uncomfortable, kept glancing at me, then finally said something. Hey, so I heard someone in the office has been putting weird stuff in their lunch containers to catch whoever's been stealing food. I looked at him innocently. Really? That's genius. Who was doing that? He shrugged. I don't know, but apparently someone got really sick after eating something from the fridge and they've been complaining about it. Huh, I said. Well, maybe they shouldn't have been eating other people's food. Dave nodded slowly. Yeah, that's fair. He never brought it up again. But I noticed after that conversation, Dave started bringing his own lunch and never touched anything else in the fridge. He'd open the fridge, grab only his clearly labeled container, and close it immediately. Interesting. I never confirmed it was Dave. I never asked. But I had my suspicions. And honestly, it didn't matter. Whoever it was, they'd learned their lesson. So that's how I stopped my office lunch thief by feeding them dog food and other disgusting combinations. Here's the beautiful part. Not only did the theft stop, but word spread around the office about what happened. People started talking about how someone had been bringing fake lunches to catch the thief. The story got around, and suddenly lunch thefts in general stopped. Other people who'd been having their food stolen reported that it wasn't happening anymore. The whole office became more respectful about the communal fridge. It became this unspoken thing. Nobody talked about it directly, but everyone knew. Don't touch other people's food because you never know what might be in there. I still work at that office. It's been over a year since the lunch thief stopped. And in that entire year, I haven't had a single lunch stolen, not once. I did keep bringing in one fake lunch every few months just to keep people honest. Nothing dangerous, just weird combinations. like a sandwich made with cake instead of bread, or a container of cereal with orange juice instead of milk. Just enough to remind everyone that you can't trust food that isn't yours. And you know what? It works. The fridge has been peaceful ever since. Here's what I learned from this whole experience. Sometimes being nice doesn't work. Sometimes asking politely doesn't work. Sometimes you need to get creative. Was it petty? Absolutely. Was it a little mean? Maybe, but you know what? That person had been stealing from me for months. They'd had plenty of chances to stop. They chose not to, so yeah, I fed them dog food. And I'd do it again. If you're dealing with an office lunch thief, try the normal approaches first. Put your name on your food. Ask HR for help. Maybe even send a company-wide email. But if that doesn't work, well, a can of dog food costs like $3. I'm just saying, just make sure whatever you do isn't actually dangerous. Don't put anything in there that could seriously hurt someone. Dog food is technically safe for humans to eat, it's just gross. Same with the weird food combinations I used. Disgusting, but not harmful. Keep it petty, keep it gross, but keep it safe. And to all the lunch thieves out there, consider this your warning. That container in the fridge, it might not be what you think it is. So maybe just bring your own lunch. Thanks for listening to my story. And remember, if it's not your food, don't eat it. You never know what's inside.